video, and I'm going to go through the same thing. I'm going to comment like I did before, but this time I'm going to stop and give you reasons, okay? And so again, I want to preface this with Louis Rossmann is a very famous YouTuber. He has 2 million subscribers. He's had a channel for like ever. I've been a subscriber forever, but I haven't watched his channels lately because if you go to his channel, and maybe I can just bring up his channel here. His channel is kind of like Angry YouTuber now. So he'll come into here and everything is like, right? They cut his TV. Lenovo has gone insane. You know, HP printers are a joke. Good riddance. You know, then this cancel, boycott, you know, no, slow. It's all negative. And he used to do videos that were really informative about how to do things, like how to fix your laptop, how to fix the screen on your laptop, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I'm not saying anything bad. He's got millions of views, millions of viewers. So he's obviously much better than me. I got like 600, subscribers. So, right, who am I to say anything? But I don't watch as much because of this. This is the kind of stuff I like to watch. And so when he made this video, I felt like I have to address some of the things that Louis is saying in here. I have nothing against him bad. I think he's a brilliant guy. He runs a business. He got a successful YouTube channel. And I find him highly intelligent. I just think that he's very wrong on this, on certain points, not everything. Okay, and I also think that in this video, you're going to see the Jekyll and Hyde of Louis, because I think he knows what he's saying is wrong in a sense. I think he's just saying it because he has a certain kind of audience. And I will explain that at the end, and that I don't have facts for. That is my opinion. I will just say that. So let's go ahead and get started.
How's it going? Hope you have a lovely day. So I've received many emails with a link.
That's pretty fast. Let's slow it down to 1.5, and let's just turn this volume up just a little bit here. Okay, hopefully you can hear it good.
Link to this post on a website that I really should stop clicking onto, but you guys send me links to it, so I visit from time to time, but I try to at least not post to it. This is from r/YouTube. It says, bye YouTube. Ad blockers violate YouTube's terms of service.
Is that too low? Is it coming?
Allow YouTube ads or try YouTube Premium. It's actually one of the most upvoted posts in this sub in a very long time. Now, I just wanted to be clear and upfront about my thoughts on this as a content creator and as somebody who has used the platform for over 10 years. My stance on this has not changed. I have a video on adblock being piracy, and I go over my stance over here where I make the argument that adblock is not piracy. And I also have a video here. I specifically say in the thumbnail that blocking ads is a-okay, and I still believe in this stance. There's actually a study I'm going to link down below. Somebody actually managed to do a study claiming that you would save billions of dollars and make the world a much greener place and literally save lives if people used adblock on all their computers. I'm not kidding. He goes over essentially the additional energy consumption from all the computers having to load the ads and what it would be like if all that energy consumption was not necessary. It's a very interesting study. It literally goes over how you would be making the world a more green place by not watching ads. So I have absolutely no problem with people blocking ads. And for several years, I actually used to pay to host my videos on Vimeo, which was $1,000 a year so that you could watch them on a platform that...
So I'm going to just stop him right here before he goes on his little spiel about how great he is. And when I say that, I shouldn't say it like that because that seems like an attack right away. But I don't like that part of what he says right there. I really don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. That's just my opinion too. That's not a fact. So what does he discuss here? He brings up a study or a video from Linus where Linus says from Linus Tech that he believes that adblock is piracy. And Louis gives his clear opinion that he believes adblock is not piracy. And Louis, to be fair, he absolutely has been firm on this. As far as I know, everything I've seen from him in the last few years, he has stuck to his guns on that. And he not only, like he says here, not only does he think it's not piracy, he thinks it's a-okay. Now, in my last video, I said this is a little bit of a gray area, and I still think it is, okay? And I try to give explanations, but now I'm going to show you the reasons why I think it is. And so I probably should have organized this better. But first of all, let's talk about what is copyright, okay? So I'm over here at copyright.gov. Now, I am an American, so I go by American stuff. If this doesn't work somewhere else, then I don't know. But I'm going to give the American point of view. What rights does who is a copyright owner, okay? Everyone is a copyright owner. Once you create an original work and fix it, like taking a photograph, writing a poem or a blog, or recording a new song, you are the author and the owner, I think what they mean is, of that work. Companies, organizations, other people besides the work's creator can also be copyright owners. Copyright law allows ownership through works made for hire, which establishes that works created by an employee within the scope of employment are owned by the employer. The work made for hire doctrines also applies to certain independent contractor relationships for certain types of commissioned works. Copyright owners can also come from contracts like assignments or from other types of transfers like wills and bequest. Okay, so that's what a copyright owner is. So you might go back if you have a good memory and say, hey, this YouTuber, oh, I took my video down. Oh no, where's it? When I had that, here it is. Okay, let me just stop this. We don't want to hear this. You might say, hey, this guy was right. In your video, you said that not everything's copyrighted on YouTube. And I did say that. And I regret saying that because I said it, but I said it in a way like, if I remember correctly, I said it kind of like, not in the same way. Like my video isn't the same as like a Beyonce video. And technically it is. Technically everything is copyrighted. And even down here, I kind of bring that up and I say, when I brought up the YouTube terms of service and went through everything that I'm talking about, and no, not every video is copyrighted in the same sense. So are they legally copyrighted in the same sense? Yes, they are. But it's like saying that the law is enforced exactly the same for everybody, which it is not, at least not in America. Maybe over in other countries it is. But over in America, we do know that the law is applied very differently. And so that's why I say that. But if you want to be technical, like if you want to say, no, like let's say, you're maybe you're on the spectrum and you're like, no, this is the definition. Then yes, okay, fine, right? The speed limit's 55 and you're going 56. You're breaking the law. So everybody's a copyright holder. But I will go into why it's not applied either. I will give my reasons for that. So first thing we have here is we know what a copyright owner is now, right? Everybody's a copyright owner. Okay, so everybody who makes a copyright, any kind of creative work that's original is a copyright owner. And now we gotta say, well, what is piracy? And you might say, well, why do we have to do this? Well, because piracy has to do with copyright. So we gotta look at that first. And the thing we have here, digital piracy, this is from Interpol. And it says, accessing free or cheap content is not the bargain you think it is. It's just giving a warning. Digital piracy refers to the illegal copying or distribution of copyright material via the internet. It negatively affects the creative industries, including film, TV, publishing, music, and gaming. Okay. And so this also works with the US, but I wanted to bring this up because this is a international, right? So for the guy who commented, or some other guy commented kind of similar to him, and I think he said he was from Europe. He was in Denmark or something. So even in the world, right, if you are copying or distributing copyright material, you are in violation of the law. Now, I don't know that all copyright materials are the same everywhere, but that appears to be the Interpol thing. I also want to highlight this. Finally, downloading or distributing copyrighted material without permission can result in legal action, which can lead to fines or even prison time. Okay, so now I have, right, here's the research I have, right? We have learned that all things on YouTube are copyrighted. We have learned that by breaking copyrights, that involves the acts of either distributing it, copying it, and even downloading it. Okay, I want to bring that up. That's important. Without permission. Okay, and that these can result in legal actions which can lead to fines or even prison time. Okay, so using ad blocker now, does that count as piracy? That's the question, right? And we just went over this stuff. So this is complicated. Hear out my argument here. Hear out my argument. My personal argument is a little nuanced. I should have had this all better. Where is my YouTube? I got my, here it is. Okay. So this is the YouTube terms of service, right? I just have it static from YouTube right here. You can come up here, terms of service, right? Terms of service for YouTube. When you use YouTube, you are agreeing to this. Okay. At some point you download it, you check the box saying, I agree to this. Okay. I know you might not have read it, but you did agree to this. Okay. So now if we come into here and I look up download, there's this important section right here. Okay. Permissions and restrictions. I hope you can see this. You may access and use the service as made available to you as long as you comply with the agreement and the applicable law. You may view or listen to content for your personal, non-commercial use. You may also show YouTube videos through the embeddable YouTube player. Is this the one? Oh yeah, the following restrictions apply to your use of the service. This is it. You are allowed to, one, it's right here. Access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit. Oh no, this isn't it. Oh yeah, I don't want download. The word, sorry guys. The word I want is actually interfere. Interfere. There it is. Oh, it is here. It's number 2. So it's the same place. You're not allowed to do this, right? But then number 2, you are not, okay. So we read this already. Now see, this is where the old OCD is like, do I need to redo this because I'm screwing up here, right? I'm not going to. I'm just going to go forward. We're barreling forward. I'm going to ignore those feelings. They're really strong though. The following restrictions apply to your use of the service. You're not allowed to. Number 1, we're going to skip that. It's not important. Number 2, this is what's important to us. You are not allowed to circumvent, disable, fraudulently engage with, or otherwise interfere with any part of the service or even attempt to do any of these things, including security-related features or features that A, prevent or restrict the copying or other use of content, limit the use of the service or content. So they're just giving some things here, but essentially you cannot interfere with any part of YouTube service. Okay? Does that make sense? And if you do, then you are breaking, you are revoking your right to use YouTube. Okay, so if we were to go further into when we upload this, okay, YouTube, we go into an agreement with YouTube that they have the right to distribute our material on our behalf and use it as they see fit. So they can show it to other people, they can recommend it to people, stuff like that, right? They could even put it in an ad, okay? But that right, okay, that right extends to people who have agreed to the terms of service. Once you break the terms of service, okay, you are no longer allowed to use YouTube. Okay, you are not protected by YouTube's agreement with me or with someone else. Okay, so, oops, sorry about that. So, what now in the last video I said there is non-copy, and I shouldn't have said it. I meant it's more nuanced than that. But what that means is that now if I have an ad block going, okay, it is obviously fraudulently engaging with and interfering with YouTube. That's what it does. It literally goes and it blocks a part of their service. Okay, that's what it does. So when you do that, not me, but when someone else does that, they're breaking the agreement with YouTube. And so now they don't have the right to download and watch anything. You might say they're not watching it though, but download, right? That could mean your streaming can be considered download, right? So you have the right to stream any videos. You have the right to use YouTube, okay? And so what I think that means then is that you are in violation of copyright laws. That is a criminal offense. Now, why, when I said that, did I say it's different for guys like me than Beyonce? Well, the simple fact is that when it comes to Beyonce, her music has a content ID on it. She's part of a large, if you're interested in content ID, if you want to know what that is, that's like so we all have the right under DMCA, right? This is the DMCA. I looked up the content ID for you. This is something, maybe I didn't. Maybe I got rid of that one. I hope I didn't. I think I did. So basically a content ID is a way that you can ID your works. But Beyonce, let's just say that she essentially has not only an army of lawyers, at her behest, ready to attack, right? But she has people that are actively looking for her material out there, and YouTube is actively looking for her material out there, distributed illegally, reproduced illegally, et cetera, right? Through their services that they provide. Things that probably aren't available to me, right? Some of it is, some of it isn't. And things that even if I found something, right? Even if someone does something, I'm probably just going to do a request on YouTube, right? I'm not going to, get into a big deal with it, right? But if you do it with the record company, right, I mean, it's tough to say, right? It's kind of like, will they come after you or not? Probably not. But that's what everyone used to think in the Pirate Bay days too, right? Oh, this is okay. And then now you still have that guy who, created the site, blah, blah, blah. Now you might say he's the big fish, but it's just one of these things. Okay, so hopefully that clears up that thing. Do I agree with Linus? Yeah, I mean, in some sense, I do. I think that ad block is piracy if you look at the law and you have just a black and white view of the law, right? If you have a black and white view of the law, then copyright law is anything that I create. And I created that, my video. And if you break the YouTube service, then you don't have the right to download or to even stream my video under, what we saw from Interpol. And so then if you do such, right, you have an ad blocker on, you're interfering with your YouTube service, you don't have the right to watch my video, because it's streaming to you, it's downloading, whatever, then you do so, then you are in violation of it. So by a technical thing, yes, absolutely. I think that it's piracy, right? That's what piracy is. But realistically, do I think it is? No, of course not. It's like the example. I think I gave these examples. It's like I'm driving back from Milwaukee, right, large city to me, to where I live, and the speed limit's 60 or 70, but we were all going 75, 80 on the interstate, okay, and we were passing right by cops, okay. So, if you do that to me, what are the odds that anything bad's going to happen to you? Probably none, zero, zilch, right? Maybe somehow I'll find out, oh, hey, you copyrighted, you could re-upload my video. I probably would never find out and nobody would ever care. Okay. But maybe then, you get a check mark or something from YouTube, right? I mean, are you a pirate? No. I personally don't think you are. Okay. Just like I don't think you're a criminal if you're going 75 miles an hour in a 70-mile-an-hour zone or whatever. But if you're doing it with large people like Beyonce or Taylor Swift or something, then that might be viewed differently, okay? That might be viewed differently because those people, they're lawyers. Not only do they look for this stuff, but they often, they go after YouTube. In fact, there's been many times that the record associations, the publishers, they have gone after YouTube for this kind of stuff, okay? And they have forced changes with how Google operates YouTube on these topics, okay? And that's why Google has created a lot of these content ID and these verification systems and all this. So, do I agree with Linus? Again, black and white world. If you're in a black and white world, then yes, Linus is right, but I don't personally agree with it. But do I agree with Louis? No, I don't think, I agree with his view, especially because he goes too far when he says it's A-okay. Okay, A-okay is a lot different to a lot of people. I don't know. So I think it's more nuanced than that. So hopefully there you have my line of thinking. I brought everything up, right? I got it for you. And again, I would consider this stuff. This is just my opinion. This is my opinion, right? But how many people do we know of, that are being criminally, or even not even criminally, how many people have gotten fines for doing this type of stuff? Probably none. What happens is they usually go after the company that's doing it. But technically, could you get a fine? Well, sure. I mean, that's what the law says. But it's kind of like jaywalking. I jaywalk across the street constantly. We have no jaywalking law here. I do it all the time. I don't ever expect to get a fine. I don't ever expect to get a ticket. Okay? I mean, we have I have like 2 cops that live down the street. I'll jaywalk right in front of them, to the mailbox. They just slow down. They don't draw their guns, and oh, you're breaking the law, right? That's where I'm saying the nuance comes from, okay? So I don't agree with either of them on that. Now, I told you I was going to give the long view. So now I gave you everything. We went to Interpol. We went to the copyright.org on here. We went to YouTube and saw their terms of service. So now you should know what I think. And I'm saying the same basic thing that I said before, right? I view it as this thing that is Louis goes too far. Louis is over here. Linus's statement's over here. I'm kind of like here. There's gray area. There's gray area in every law, okay? Right? That's just the way it works, at least in America. At least in America. I haven't been in a legal system somewhere else, but in America, there's gray area. Okay, especially with things like this. Okay, let's go on.
That had no ads, that was also higher in quality. I stopped once I realized that for the amount of space I was using.
Oh yeah, I forgot to address this. Let's go back. He talks about that study. It's a ridiculous study.
Consumption from all the computers having to load the ads and what it would be like if all that energy consumption was not necessary. It's a very interesting study. It literally goes over how you would be making the world a more green place by not watching ads. So I have absolutely no problem with people blocking ads. And for several years, I actually used to pay to host my videos on Vimeo, which was $1,000 a year so that you could watch them on a platform that had no ads, that was also higher in quality. I stopped once I realized that for the amount of space I was using, I would have to start paying $10,000 a year. That was a little bit too steep for me for something that I did not monetize, but I really have no problem with people not watching ads. Ads are incredibly, incredibly annoying. They waste energy, they waste life, and they are aggravating. That being said, there are a lot of comments and there are a lot of emails that I'm receiving about this that are very surprising to me. They're talking about how YouTube is going to die.
Okay, so I think that's it. I think he's done with that part. So I want to bring this up. This is the most ridiculous argument. I'm going to keep exactly the same here. And just in case you didn't see the other video, I'm going to say this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So here, whatever, deny. Here's the thing. Energy conservation with open source ad blockers, right? Abstraction. Internet-related electricity consumption is rising rapidly as global internet users spend more than 6.5 hours per day online. Open source ad blockers have the potential to reduce the time and thus electricity spent using computers by eliminating ads through internet browsing and video streaming. So anyways, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. You can go through this, right? I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, okay? But I did go through this, right? And so basically this guy is going through and he's basically taking these sites and he's saying we have ad block on it, we don't have ad block on it. We have these different ones. How much processing power is being used? What is the load time? All this stuff, and then he clocks it into like how much electricity the world would be saving based on internet usage, right? So right here. Economically, the savings for the use of open source ad blockers are potentially easier to understand. For example, in the United States, if all internet users enabled Privacy Badger on their computers, they would expect to save more than $91 million annually. Globally, if all internet users use uBlock Origin, they would collectively save more than 1.8 billion US dollars a year. And so that is the cost, right, of the electricity, right? And then right here, he talks about the equation ranges from 3.6 million to 1.13 billion kilowatt hours. So this is the amount of energy used by it, right? So, okay. I want to talk about why I think this study, let's just read a conclusion. This study, although preliminary, clearly shows enormous potential for open source ad blockers to reduce consumer time waiting for internet ads to load, as well as the electricity needed to run their computers and all other electronic technologies during that time. In addition to externalities, including premature fatalities associated with fossil fuel-based electricity spent using computers by eliminating ads during internet browsing and video streaming would be reduced. Okay, so, I mean, I don't even want to get into this because it's so freaking stupid. Is it wrong? No, it's completely right. I don't know. What would you call this argument? What do you call an argument that is just, it adds nothing to it, okay? So, first of all, if he's saying this, then I could say this. I could say everything he's saying except for with the word ad, I could say YouTube, right? So every single thing in here where he's doing it with this, I would have to change a little bit of it, but basically it's the same thing, right? I could do everything he's doing in here, and I could say video gaming, right? Don't play Switch. And the Switch, not playing, if Americans don't play Switch, they will save this much electricity. They will save this much money. They will save this much time. It will save this many deaths from carbon, the carbon that's created from creating electricity, right? I could say Galaxy Watches, right? Galaxy Watches are evil, okay? They use electricity. I could say light. Light is evil. Light is evil. That light is evil because it uses electricity. That light uses electricity, right? The internet is evil, period. The internet is evil. It uses electricity. Okay? You know what's evil? Electricity is evil because it uses electricity. And that electricity kills people. People die from that electricity. And I'm not trying to mock the fact that, yes, coal burning electricity has contributed to global warming, and obviously it's an issue. What I'm saying is that the world is set in its ways. We're on a path. I don't think we're reverting to the days of not using electricity, okay? Does that mean that we shouldn't look for ways to save energy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying, okay? But ads are an integral part of services, okay? If you're a developer, you're going to find out that people don't want to pay for anything nowadays. And we're going to talk about this later. Louis talks about this, and this is actually something I agree with him on. And so ads actually pay for things, okay? So all these things that we come to expect wouldn't be there without ads. So it's not like they're just this tacky add-on, right? There's something that are used to provide services to people, okay? And really, we could say, I mean, you know, there's a lot of useless stuff we do on the internet. Why do we have to justify everything, right? The simple fact is that the human race has made up its mind. It's going towards a digital future, okay? And we're going to use electricity, right? And we got to look for ways to generate it better. But the idea that we're going to use less of it, that's ridiculous. I mean, look at Bitcoin, for God's sake. I mean, last I heard, that's like using as much in here, just so I have my, I want to make sure I have something here. BTC energy usage country. I believed it was a small European country. So this was a year ago, 127 terawatt hours a year, more than Norway. This is from rmi.org. Okay, so there's my source. And I actually was going to say like a small European country. I don't know if Norway is considered a small European country. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. It seems like it's a big land area. People wise, I don't really know how many people live there. How many people live in Norway? Like 5-10 million? I don't know. So anyways, right? So are we going to do away with BTC? Right? I mean, it's evil. It uses electricity, right? You know, I mean, there are people that would say, yeah, it's really wasteful that it uses it. And I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying it is what it is, right? We are on this path as human beings. We're going towards a digital future. So the idea that, you know, it's just ridiculous that he's putting it out there. And then him talking about his Vimeo, right? He's like, oh, I put this up there. I'm such a great guy, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I took everything down because it was going to cost too much. Well, why didn't he just leave it up at the same thing he had if he's such a great guy? Why didn't he just leave it up the same service level? He didn't have to increase it. Now, I'm not criticizing him for this, right? I'm just saying because he brings it up, then we can criticize it. He didn't have to bring it up, right? Once you bring something up like that, you're open to criticism on it, right? Because he's trying to use it to make himself the white knight. That's what I would say. He's trying to say, oh, look at me. I'm so great. I don't know if you're religious. This isn't a religious comment. Okay, but there's this idea that the one hand doesn't know what the other hand gives. Okay, I'm just saying it's a story from I forgot what it's from, the Gospels or something, right? And then they probably have analogs to it in other religions, right? And so here Louis is telling us about all the great things he does, right? Oh man, look at me, I do all this stuff. And so this isn't, you know, I bring that up. I'm not bringing it up as a religious thing. I'm just bringing it up as a kind of a human behavior thing, you know. So it just bothers me for that reason. You know, because then it's okay, I feel, to critique him a little bit on that, right? I'm not saying he's not doing a good thing. Yes, it's a good thing. He had him up on Vimeo, but he shouldn't be like, oh, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't afford to keep doing it, or it's got too expensive. Well, why didn't you just keep it up at the level you had and just put less videos up? If you're such a white knight and so great about this, right? He didn't. And my guess is that he gives a hint when he says he couldn't monetize it, or it wasn't monetized, right? Because he's probably like, hey, I'm not making money off this. Why am I going to do this? And that's my opinion. That's not a fact. I don't have any research for that. Okay.
As a direct result of them doing this. And this is very different from the arguments that I've made about YouTube dying in the past. And I think it's very important to make a distinction because this is something in business that I really think is going to start mattering in times with higher interest rates where businesses actually have to make money. As somebody who believes that ad block...
Okay. First of all, I want to tell you something too, because he's going to say this. I believe ad blocks are fine too. I don't care if someone uses ad block. I really don't. I'm just kind of pointing out some things wrong with Louis. And here's the biggest thing in this video that irks me about the video. It's not actually the whole ad block thing. It's something that he says coming up here. But I want to tell you, this is his heckle and jive moment. Okay. This is opinion. This is where he has lost people like me. Not lost completely. I still like Louis, but he has gone to this crazy kind of like everybody in America now. We're all about cults, personality cults, and we get a certain type of people and you cultivate that to the max. And so now he's throwing red meat to him, right? He's telling him, hey, you guys who use ad block, you're okay. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, you guys are saving the earth. You guys are great, right? But at the same time, Louis is a businessman. He runs a business. He has for like 15 years. So he knows better. I think he does. This is my opinion. And we're going to hear a little bit of that now. Okay.
Is A-okay, as somebody that has an ad blocker on his own computer, as somebody who has an ad blocker in the browser he is using to screenshot his own videos right now. I don't see how YouTube is actually going to ruin themselves by blocking people from using ad blockers. I think that something else is wrong with YouTube. I think that they are not making money, and I would stand behind people like Eli the computer guy that make the argument that YouTube as a business doesn't work. And
that's the comment that irks me. I wanted him to say his part coming up. I'm going to go. I'm not going to interrupt. Again, I'm going to let him say the part I wanted to. I was alluding to before, but that statement there just burns me. Because you want to talk about not doing your research? He didn't do his research. He could look this up super easy. Okay, so if, not being mean, I really like the comments I got on YouTube. I like to get feedback because I need to know if I'm doing something right. But you want to talk about not doing your research? If you're going to be critical of me right here, he could have looked this up. This is super easy. YouTube makes a ton of money.
And that once you are looking,
and I will show that,
for pennies in your couch,
and I did show that last time, actually. I showed my sources for that, but I'm going to show even more sources.
Rather than different ways to make money, you are probably failing. But that is different from making the argument that the very action of banning ad blockers is what will ruin YouTube. At the end of the day, YouTube is paying out the ass for bandwidth and storage, and there are a lot of people that are using that bandwidth and storage without paying them. If they manage to eliminate their customers that take their resources without paying them, they will be in a better position than they are if you use their resources without paying them. Something I genuinely agree with Eli the computer guy on is a lot of people nowadays, we have grown up in a zero interest rate environment for so long that they actually believe that their utilization of a service in and of itself is payment for that service. You should be so happy that I am a user of your platform that in and of itself should be able to pay your employees, pay your server bills, and pay everything else.
Freetards. That's what I call them. I call these people freetards. Okay? They are freetards. They are the most frustrating people on earth to me because I'm a developer. I've made apps. They expect a one-guy shop to give you the same quality of an app as a $3 trillion company. And if you don't do something, even though they're not paying for your app, they're not paying you $1. If you don't do something exactly like they want, they're going to come on there and they're going to tell you how stupid you are, how stupid your children are, how you don't even deserve to be on earth, blah, blah, blah. You are a terrible human being because I can't even believe I'm a customer who doesn't pay anything, right? They are the worst people. They expect everything for free. And there's a lot of them out there. And I'm not trying to get too political with this. I know that some people will be like, oh, yeah, in America, we have these really crazy political divides. I'm not really going towards that. I'm just talking about these digital freetards out there.
And there is this idea that has just been presented without evidence or fact that YouTube is...
Oh, and I think I made up that word freetard. I really do. I did look that up. I don't see too much of it. So, like, if you put it in here... Wow, I guess it didn't. No. I didn't see this on my phone. I honestly did look this up on my phone. I didn't. Maybe I spelled it like 2 words or something. It comes right up. I don't know. Sorry. Dang it. I was hoping I invented that word. I guess I heard it somewhere.
So valuable that YouTube itself is so necessary that somehow, some way, even if Google does not make money off of it directly, surely they make money off of it in another way. And I don't believe that. I believe that if they have a specific segment of their company that brings in less money than it costs to run, that keeping that alive is likely detrimental to them. But further, that getting rid of the people that actually cost that service money is probably not going to ruin them. If there was an issue with my company whereby customers were getting their devices back and they didn't pay the bill and I figured out a way to stop that, that would be good for my company. Even if those customers are mad that they're no longer getting free repairs, my repair people are now free to offer repairs to people who are actually paying. I'll be able to offer faster repairs to the actual paying customer. My business will be profitable in a way that it is not profitable if people are utilizing the resources of my business without paying me for it. I had no problem paying for YouTube Premium back in the day until I realized that I was getting screwed. When I would go on a road trip and I would have a device that had not connected to the...
I was getting screwed and it goes through this thing. It was a bug. I was on YouTube Premium back then. It was a bug. Okay? Bugs get fixed. Louis, I guarantee that not every time you've serviced somebody, it was perfect. Okay? So you had one issue and it was frustrating, and issues are frustrating. And because of that, you decided, okay, I'm going to become a pirate. right? I mean, listen, the guy here, this is the Jekyll and Hyde moment, right? This is where he's like, hey, to his audience, after he propped them up. But guys, you know what? YouTube is a business. It needs to make money, and it costs money to serve videos, right? I know it sounds crazy, but it actually costs money to use server time. It costs money to have storage. It costs money to have. Don't ask me. I swear to God, I thought it was a government program that did this, and that when you were born, you had the right to this, right? You have the right to all this stuff for free. I thought so too, but no, guys. Actually, I run a business, and you know what? At my business, if people just took stuff for free, which some businesses call stealing, but I wouldn't. If I got rid of those people, I wouldn't really mind it either, right? Well, of course, right? I mean, just look up shoplifting in America, right? You think these stores want these people coming in and these organized crime gangs coming in and just stealing all this shit? You think that's good for business, right? You think they want to say, hey, I'd rather not have these people, right? But those people aren't pirates. They're not pirates, right? They're not pirates. So I'm just kidding.
The internet for 3 days, and that device was not able to play a video that I downloaded without connecting to the internet. That's the point at which I realized I was actually getting worse service paying for YouTube Premium than I would get if I used NewPipe, did not pay YouTube any money, and just click the download button and get an actual file. I'm willing to pay for.
Hey man, yeah. See, I was going to the store, right, and I was paying for stuff, and then I realized, you know what? If I just steal it for free, I save money. Right, and it's better service because we all like to save money, right? I save $150 if I just steal this item instead of paying for it, man. So once I realized that, hey, I was like, I'm gonna keep doing that. Not for real. Oh, wait, let's go back. YouTube doesn't make money. Sorry, I want to talk about that. That's what really bugs me. YouTube doesn't make money. Okay, this is the most ridiculous comment I ever heard. And this is actually why I picked this video, because when I first heard it, it was just in my brain like, my God, Louis, you didn't do your research. You could look this up. Of all the people, I know you have the cachet, you have 10 years of service, you have 2 million people, right? Watching you, you could have looked that up. Main Street data, right? Here's Google. They just released their earning reports like, I don't know, 17 days ago, okay? This is for you, Alphabet as a company, but I'm showing you this and we'll get into it. So this is my data. I did show this last time, but we're going to go a little further into it. Alphabet as company income statement. This is their revenue and operating income. And then here's their net income. Net income. Okay, so revenue is everything you make. Every dollar you take in is revenue. Operating income is after your main expenses. Net income is after all expenses, including taxes, blah, 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 blah. Right? So, that's the difference between these kind of things. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor, so if I have a little nuance missed there, you can know. But basically, those are your different types of revenue. Okay, so you can see that this, right? They're this type of money coming in. So in 3 months, Alphabet made $86.31 billion. The 3 months leading up to 12/31/23. $86.31 billion. Is it all YouTube? Of course not, but I'm going to get there. Their operating income, $23.7 billion. So they pay out on ads, right? So they pay YouTube creators, they pay servers, they pay all this stuff, right? But they still had operating income $23.7 billion. And then they pay their taxes, they pay whatever the EBITDA is or whatever that is. And then they have $20.69 billion net income. What is this? This is what they take, $20.69 billion, and they put it into their pocket. That's me putting it into my pocket. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm taking it, put it into my pocket. $20.69 billion in 3 months. Okay? Just remember that. That's a lot of money, right? Look at their cloud. Their cloud is positive now. This is a great company to invest in, I think. But Alphabet has a stigma on their how they look to people. They're not like, a lot of people hate Alphabet, so it's a risky stock in some sense too, because it just never really seems to explode like some of these other Magnificent Seven. Not that it hasn't done. I mean, over the last year, it's done great, but it's not like some other stocks do, like Meta or something. Okay. So let's talk about YouTube. let's go to Google's financials. So this is from Google. So again, here's my research. I presented this last time. If we come to YouTube, we can see that YouTube ads made $9.2 billion with a B, billion dollars in the 3 months ending December 31st, 2023. Look, making sure I'm not getting too loud with my video. Okay, 9.2 billion they brought in revenue. 3 months. Okay, 3 months. Next, Google subscriptions, platforms, and devices. This would include Pixels, Google One, etc. This was $10.794 billion. Okay, more than YouTube ads, but I'm bringing this up because in their subscription, they're also including YouTube TV and YouTube Premium, along with YouTube Music, etc., etc. Okay, and so that's part of YouTube's money, right? And now Sundar they don't break it apart, but Sundar kind of lets us know what it makes. The surprising success of YouTube subscriptions driving $15 billion in revenue for Google for 2023. Okay, staggering $15 billion in annual revenue. That is on YouTube subscription, TV, YouTube Premium, YouTube Music. Okay, that's not ads. That is just a subscription. Now that is a full year, right? But they've been growing. Okay, so let's just say, this isn't the fact. This is just me trying to apply some common logic, just so you guys know. I know maybe I'm going too far with this kind of thing, but I just want to make you know when what I'm saying is not something I have a basis for. I'm just using my logic. YouTube grew 7.9 to 9.2 in 1 year, so they're growing each quarter. What is that? That's like 1.25 billion into 7.9, so that's like, I don't know, 20% or 17% or something. So they're growing like 17% over the year. So my guess is they're growing each quarter, right? We have $15 billion. Let's divide that by 4, 7.5, 3.75. And my guess is that grew also. And so maybe it started off at 3.5. It went to 3.75, 3. Let's just say it went 3.25, 3.5, 3. Or no, how would I want to do that? Yeah, I want to be around it, don't I? 3.25, 3.5. I don't know how to break this up, but I would think it's safe to say that they brought in, if the average for the year for each quarter is 3.75, since they're growing, I think it would be safe to say they brought in $4 billion on subscription. Now, I might be wrong in that, but remember, again, Sundar on the earnings call stated $15 billion in annual revenues off of subscriptions. 15 billion times 4, 7.5, that's half of that is 3.75. Okay, and again, I'm assuming that it grew each quarter, so it wasn't 3.75 each quarter. Started one quarter smaller, got bigger, got bigger, got bigger. That's how I'm assuming. It's my assumption. If it isn't, if I'm wrong, it's still not a tremendous amount off with numbers this big. But I'm just going to go conservatively, say 4 billion. Then with that 4 billion and this, that's $13.2 billion in revenue. That is a ton of money. And there is no way that they are not having a net income off of that they don't pocket some of that. Now, they don't break this apart, and there's reasons they don't break this apart. One is that Google runs its own services, its own internal services. Microsoft does this too, and Amazon on their own cloud. Okay, so if you don't know what Google Cloud is, it's this computing service that's actually been growing like crazy. It's actually in the positive now, but Google runs their own services on this, right? So like on cloud, they have something called Bigtable, right? They run their own products on their own Bigtable in Google Cloud. And like anything, it has usage like this. And when it's up here, they rent more computers from themselves. And then when it's down here, they release those CPUs and sell them to customers. Okay? So they're running it on their cloud, and their cloud is profitable. They have a what do you want to call it? A vertical integration that is not available to a Vimeo. So when Louis and that guy, I forget what he calls, when they look at YouTube and they say, oh, it doesn't make money, they're comparing it to a standalone service coming in that has to pay for servers they're not using for anything else. They're just using it to serve video. Okay? But YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube is building upon their own stack, and then the stack that they're selling to other people for other services. Okay? So their servers have other income coming in on them. And yes, obviously some of those servers, they have a minimum they must always use, and there is a cost to that, but there's no way it's $13.2 billion in 3 months. There is no way. Okay. So technically this is an opinion because Google doesn't break this out, but there is no way that that YouTube is not wildly profitable. Okay, that is making a ton of money for Google. Okay, it's not even possible. Okay, server and bandwidth cost does not cost that much for them. Again, they plug it under Google Cloud, and Google Cloud is profitable. It is profitable now. Okay, so they took losses for years, just like Amazon did. Now they're in profit. They're net profit on it. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. That is the most ridiculous statement ever. Louis could have figured this out if he would have just looked it up. That's that. I hope that's enough to explain that. I hope that's good backing.
Service, and I realize that these services cost money, which is why I spent 7 years paying for YouTube Premium. But I completely understand if YouTube decides, I don't really want somebody as a customer that utilizes my resources and doesn't pay me.
I do agree with him here. I think that, YouTube obviously doesn't want to lose anybody because they're a company and they want to give everybody a benefit of doubt and they're hoping that they can convert them. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're crying if someone has an ad blocker on and says, oh, hey, I'm not going to come back to your service. I don't think that really bugs them too much.
Now,
that's opinion.
Can somebody make the argument that will be the downfall of their platform? Probably. But again, if the theory is correct, which is that YouTube doesn't actually make money, then
YouTube makes a ton of money. I show that. It's so annoying.
I would like to see somebody else figure out a way to make this work, truly, honestly.
Well, I showed how much, they make tons of money. I think he means, are they profitable? Or do they have a net income? And I can't directly show that, but I think we can infer that. Like he would have to show that their liabilities are greater than $13.2 billion for a quarter for YouTube, which I mean, right? Google Cloud as a whole doesn't have that many liabilities. Okay, so all of their infrastructure for all of Google doesn't have that many liabilities. And we know that because we know their revenue, and we know they break that out. So we know their revenue, Google Clouds, and we know they're operating at a profit. So we know we can infer what their expenses. You can actually not infer, you can calculate what their expenses would be. So then there's the man hours. We don't know that, right? So again, we wouldn't know that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a ridiculous thought.
I mean, when you look at every other platform out there, in my comment section every single day, there are people that are telling me, you should try out Rumble, you should try out Odyssey. Louis, why are you not on Rumble? Why are you not on Odyssey? And that's the point at which you learn that even the shills for these platforms do not use them. I have over 20,000 subscribers on Odyssey, and I'm not kidding. Every single day, I have somebody in my comments asking me, Louis, why are you not on Odyssey? Or emailing me, Louis, why are you not on Odyssey? I am using the same handle with the same spelling on Odyssey that I use on YouTube, and nobody cares because nobody uses those platforms. The people who shill these platforms do not even use these platforms. They have no user base whatsoever. And if they actually started to gain a user base and a following, you got to pay for that somehow. Either A, ads, B, charge the content creator, C, charge the viewer.
He's right. This is right. This is. I
don't see how anything else works. And like,
the
people who shill these platforms do not even use these platforms. They have no user base whatsoever. And if they actually started to gain a user base and a following, you got to pay for that somehow. Either A, ads, B, charge the content creator, C, charge the viewer.
This is the Louis that I like. This is the level-headed thinking Louis. He's not throwing the red meat here. He had to throw the red meat. He had to butter his crowd up, and then this is my opinion, then he had to say, well, guys, this is just so ridiculous. I can't just keep putting this act on. Okay, I'm a business owner, and guess what? YouTube's a business, and there really aren't that many ways to make money with this. If you're not gonna charge for ads, and you're not going to charge the end user, and you're not going to charge anybody anything, and you're not going to show any ads, then how are they going to make their money? Is the manna going to fall from the sky? How are they going to make money? Right? he's right. This is where he's right, right? YouTube has to make money. And he is right with about Vimeo too. I do agree with them that if anybody else tried to replace YouTube, as soon as people went on Vimeo, they would fail, because people right now expect everything. The freetards expect it for free. Nobody wants to pay for anything. And if Vimeo did get a heck of a lot of usage, they wouldn't be able to generate the revenue to justify their costs, right? To cover their costs. Sorry, they would be in the red for sure. But again, Alphabet's different, and just to be fair, Microsoft could pull off YouTube. Amazon could pull off YouTube. They have the kind of structure that they could vertically integrate YouTube just like Google could, okay, or does.
I don't see how anything else works. And like, you're welcome to say that I'm out of touch. You're welcome to say that I don't know how to do business. You're welcome to say I've never started a $1 billion company before, and you would be right with all three of those. But there is something weird about this idea that we've had from like 2011 through 2020, where we don't care about companies making money. We don't care about their net profit. We care about growth and users above all else. And for me, just as a small business owner, as somebody who does not have the privilege of being able to have hundreds of millions of dollars of investor money that I can just piss away on random shit, I've actually had to care about these crazy things like net profit. I actually have to care about things like, did this customer cost me more than I made off of them? And on aggregate, are my customers costing me more money than I am making off of those customers? And if that is the case, do I actually want those customers?
Of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't want those customers, and he knows it, right? Who wants customers that you're losing money on, right? That's not the point of business, especially in this case. What we're talking here, this is extreme. This isn't like, hey, I got a one-time fix and I really had to go the extra mile and I lost a few bucks on this lady. And I do these a few times a week. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about millions of people coming into your service and just demanding everything for free and going through and stealing everything, right? You want those people? Like him and his small business example isn't close enough. The close enough example is like Target and people going in there and just taking stuff, right? Because in some cities, they don't even prosecute shoplifting, right? Like, I know there's some American cities that kind of like, they don't even prosecute it anymore, right? And so you're like, how do they stop it? Well, they don't. They just kind of let people do it. So it's like this gray area thing. Is it really illegal if they're not going to prosecute it? Who knows, right? But, the stores are kind of like, well, we're sick of this. We're going to close down. And, YouTube isn't going to close down. That's not what I'm saying. But like, that's more akin to what's happening in YouTube in a sense. But they're at the point where it's not as bad as the stores, right? It doesn't cost them as much. And they're always like, well, maybe we can convert this person. But ultimately, I don't think they care. So I'm going to agree with Louis on that, right? Will this be their downfall? Absolutely not. Okay. But again, this video, right, it showed the different sides of Louis, right? I like Louis a lot. He's a highly intelligent guy, highly intelligent. But, personally, he just said some things that, just blew my mind right in the beginning. With that study, and then of course with Google not making money, and it's just, I think he's too smart to make a silly mistake like that. But that one sounds like he honestly believes it. I think, I don't know, he just needs to do some research. Maybe if you watch this, Louis, understand that, I don't know what I would say to you. You have a great following. What can I say to you? You're way more successful as a YouTuber than me, and you got a good successful business too. So I mean, don't worry, Louis. There's nothing I can say to you. You're doing everything right. But even though you're doing everything right, I guarantee you, YouTube is making money. Okay. So, okay. Eli the computer guy. That's his name. Eli computer guy. Okay, people. Let me know what you think. Is this video better, worse? Did I go too far? So I was on one extreme where I didn't show any sources. Now I'm on the other extreme, showing all my sources, over explaining everything. Super long videos, like an hour long or something. I mean, this is nuts, right? What do you think? Let me know which one you think is better. Okay. Thank you very much.